pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The chair moves for the approval of the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Announcements. The next regular school board meeting will be September 11th here in this room at 6 p.m. Are there any members of the public who wish to come before the board to speak? Seeing none, we will move on. Oh, I'm sorry, that's, okay. Did we get out of line there? No.
No, you're okay.
We're good, okay, so. So in other words, I'm, if it's not obvious, I'm not Gary Woolner, and I'm the vice chair. Gary had a medical issue going on. Something was different. Yeah. So we're going to start out 5A with the superintendent's evaluation. We're doing something a little bit differently this year, so I'm going to just give a bit of a presentation to let members of the public know a little bit more about how we go through this process. So it's our job as school board members to evaluate the performance of the superintendent on a yearly basis. And in the past, it's been sort of more of a general assessment of his overall performance. But this year we tried something a little bit different and asked school board members to evaluate Kevin specifically on his stated areas of focus for the school year. Our thinking with this approach was to allow the board to assess his performance a bit more formally and also to aid in transparency so that we could more easily communicate the results of his evaluation to the community in an open meeting. So Kevin's stated areas of focus for the 2022-23 school year were as follows: district facilities review, comprehensive mental health review, campus and building security, and COVID-19 situation monitoring. School board members were asked to rate Kevin's performance in these 4 focus areas on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the best. And in each of the 4 focus areas, Kevin received ratings of 5 from each responding board member. And I just wanted to read some of the school board comments anonymously. Great job managing the multi-year facilities improvement effort. I really appreciated the structure and cadence of the process, and I think he's done a very good job communicating with all groups on this. I really like how Kevin has worked with our administration and staff to create clarity on what our goals are for mental health. I feel Kevin has made building security a priority, and we should continue to keep this topic center stage. COVID-19 monitoring was a top priority for Kevin on a daily basis. He adhered to the plan we had in place and followed state guidelines to continue leading us through a difficult situation. I know how much personal time and commitment he put into this effort, and I saw firsthand his love and care for our staff and students. So this yearly process that we go through to evaluate the superintendent's performance, a good time to point out that Westonka is extremely fortunate to have so many professional and dedicated school administrators. And in particular, our district continues to be very well served by the leadership of Kevin Borg. So thank you, Kevin, for another good year.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to the treasurer's report. Ralph?
Yes, we're going to do May and June.
So it's clear you passed.
You did. Flying colors.
I think we're supposed to sign a letter grade.
I think we'd be up there with an A or an A+, right?
Almost a perfect score.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to begin with May. And we start with 4.0 services, staff recognition event, $500. Hastings Creamery, staff recognition event, $100. Preferred One Westonka Wellness, $674.81. Charities Aid Foundation, MWHS, $87.32. Westonka Baseball Boosters, Westonka Baseball Team, $5,600. Northwest Tonka Lions Student Scholarships, $4,000. Fidelity Charitable Sue Riley Memorial Scholarship, $2,000. Friends of MWHS First Robotics Club, $135. I would move to June. Shirley Hills PTO Shirley Hills, $4,205.25. Progressive Insurance Shirley Hills, $250. GMS PTO Grandview Middle School, $8,547.86. Shirley Zay Foundation MWHS, $87.32. Westonka Softball Boosters Westonka Softball Team, $4,000. Culver's Westonka Community Theater, $426.21. Mountain True Value CE Music in the Park, $250. Mount Westonka Rotary Club CE Music in the Park, $2,500. Charleston Insurance CE Music in the Park, $250. National Honor Society Scholarship, $2,000. Kevin and Tamara Kenichi, I hope I'm pronouncing that somewhat correctly. Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $25. John and Catherine Anderson Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $250. Roxanne Riddle Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $100. Jan Whitmark and Jim McKellar Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $50. Hannah Cardarelli Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $100. Kathleen Schroeder Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $100. Jill and Jean Sinola Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $100. Todd and Barbara Brodigan Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $50. Marty Fisher Westonka Administrative Scholarship, $1,000. Butch Humbert Larry Excel Memorial Scholarship, $100. Paul and Trudy Marquis Captain's Club, $50. Gary Carlson Captain's Club, $100. Sharon Thaler Captain's Club, $6,000. Sharon Thaler Student Senate, $3,270. Westonka Baseball Boosters Westonka Baseball Club, $3,000. Howell Family Dave Ellis Dave Ice Memorial, $200. Douglas Siebel Dave Ice Memorial, $500. And Colin Charleston Dave Ice Memorial, $500. Community Ed Youth Dance Westonka Hawkettes Dance Team, $11,079.32. We also have some here that I think I missed. Catherine and Riley Reether, Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $50. Stacy and Todd Businet, Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $100. Butch Humbert, Larry Excel Membership Scholarship, $100. Cargill Captain's Club, $661.50. Black Bod Giving Fund, Girls Lacrosse, $150. Black Bod Giving Fund, Boys Lacrosse, $150. And Black Bod Giving Fund, Westonka Softball Club, $1,116. And
I think there are some at the bottom of the previous page. I think the ones you just finished were July.
yes, you're correct.
So catch those.
So I'm gonna go on to the beginning of July. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Rotary Lake of Minnetonka Excelsior Westonka Wings, $4,000. Charities Aid Foundation, MWHS, $87.32. Sharon Thaler, MWHS, $10,000. West Lakes Dentistry, Westonka Community Theater, $500. Anonymous, CE Arts in the Park, $250. Ronald Chase, Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $640. Kathleen and John Nyland, Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $100. And Kim and James Manuel, Brian Chase Memorial Scholarship, $50. Year-to-date total contributions in cash, $17,954.82. And I should just say, you know, we appreciate all contributions from the community, and sometimes these get lost in the shuffle, as I almost did today. on some of these, but we do appreciate them all. And Madam Chair, and board members, I've looked at the check ledger for July, June, and also May, and all seems to be in order.
Thank you, Ralph. Okay, next up is the financial report with Kathy Miller. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, board members. 1 week from today, we'll be beginning our fiscal year 22-23 audit with Bergen KDV, and we are wrapping up on our final entries, and we anticipate another smooth audit. Due to the early state of our audit, I'm presenting an updated snapshot of our June 30th, 2023 financial information. The majority of our entries are done, as I mentioned, our property taxes, state aid, federal receivables. However, there's a few items, just a handful of entries yet to do, or yet to process, and we're waiting on some reports from the state because our audit is so early. Also, there's a few invoices that we're waiting on as well.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you real
Sure.
quick? Can you hit the light? I'm
Oh,
looking at the
sure.
screen and it looks like others may not be
There we
able
go.
to see it.
Oops.
Okay,
I probably
thank you.
did the wrong one.
There you go, yeah.
There we go. Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So as of June 30th, again, with the audit mostly complete, we feel good about where we're at. And again, any adjustments that we have in the last handful of audits will update our estimated revenue and expenses accordingly. But at this point, we are really pleased with how our books are looking. Bergen KDV, again, is our auditor. They have changed names. I think, is it Connect or Creativity or something? I can't remember now. But they will be here on October 3rd to present the final audit. Related items, we are, outside of the audit, the next item is we're preparing for our levy. All of the initial data needs to be into the state by August 25th, so we'll be working on that. And then once the state collects all the information from the school districts, we will be getting our proposed property tax levy information in early September. And that leads into the next item, the school board finance committee meeting. The beginning of September, we'll have our first day of school enrollments, as well as our proposed levy. And also at that meeting, we'll hopefully have a pretty good handle on solid preliminary information that we'll share with our finance committee on our audit results. Any questions on those 3 items? Okay. Before I conclude my report, I just wanted to take a moment to thank Brian Roth. As a new board member, I invited him to come in and learn about school finance if he'd like, and he was brave enough to do that. And so we spent a couple hours together a few weeks ago, and he was a fast learner, and in fact, he wanted to come back again, and I said, come back after the audit and we'll talk more. So I appreciate his interest.
Hopefully there are no pop quizzes on what I learned.
Yes, all right. I'll go easy on you. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, Kevin?
I'd start with thank you to the board for the review. This is my 27th year in the school district, going to be my 18th year as the superintendent, and that's a long time. We came here for a job and we found home, and this has been a great place to raise a family, but it's really a privilege to serve this community, and I really enjoy my work under this board, and so thank you for that.
18 years superintendent.
Starting 18 years. Today we kicked off fall sports, and so we had 460 students register for one of our fall sport activities. I was talking to Mr. Peterson, that includes our middle school and high school athletes, but he would expect in the next week we probably will get about another 40 or so registrations, and so it's just a fantastic thing about the district that so many kids, we have a lot of things that we offer and so many kids participate, and it was nice to have cooler weather. Looks like next week it's going to get really hot, but you're always appreciative of those cooler days when it starts out. Next Monday, we have new teacher workshop, and so with our contract, new people that are new to our district come in 4 days earlier than the rest of the teachers. And this year we have 20 new teachers in our district, and so we will look forward to doing orientation with them. That Thursday, we have all staff coming in, and so we have our teacher workshop kicking off, and then the following week we have more teacher workshop. It's a great opportunity to connect with our goals and help them get prepared. We do open houses with our different levels for parents to be able to connect with teachers, and it's a busy but really important time for the start of the school year. Kathy discussed what her department's busy with, and that's getting ready for the audit. As I've shared many times, I'm really appreciative of our finance team. It's rare to have someone willing to go on with their audit so early, and to be organized and prepared to do that just puts us as a district in a really strong position, so thank you. As you know, we had a summer feeding program that went on over the summer, and talking to Laura, it probably averaged around 3,300 lunches a day. And so you think about kids that are involved with Adventure Club, that's part of the reason. Or you look at people that are doing strength, they come in for lunch. And so the reason why we're hitting the numbers that we are is the amount of programs that we have here. It's obviously open to the community. It was at the high school and at Hilltop. But that was a great thing for kids to have meals.
Were any meals going out to bus routes or anything? Okay.
No, so it is that they have to come here for those meals. We had custodians, obviously busy cleaning. We didn't have a lot of projects as far as large projects this year, but smaller maintenance projects. It's also a really busy time for technology over the summer. We start getting in new devices, and you have to make sure that you log and record your fixed assets, so what's going out and making sure they're swiped and cleaned, and then what you're taking in and making sure you record. But also there's a lot of updates to the technology. If it's our infrastructure, if it's devices. This year it was our lease on our copiers came up, and there's always a lot to it. And so they put a lot of time to make sure that they make that when staff come back, it's working well. I want to really say thanks. I don't know if you're following the national news here today about bus drivers. We're so blessed that our team, we just have great continuity with so many drivers. But if you're looking at the national news, there's some districts, one was in Kentucky, where they had to go online school for days here because they're just not being able to pick up or drop off in a way that they have confidence with. And I'm just very thankful for our drivers and their commitment to our community. I want to thank Kelly Bovey for your representation of the district. We closed on the 6.8 acres on Game Farm, and just really excited about how that property connects to the rest of the district and the possibilities that has for the district to consider in the future. And what we've really described is that this is going to help us with field space. We've done environmental studies and we've done wetland delineations, and we feel like that's going to be able to serve the district well when it is that they take that on as a project. And so there's no time set for that. That isn't included in this bond that we're proposing, but it is setting the stage for growth and new development for field space. Lastly, just highlight, you started with my evaluation of the goals, and really when we look at this year, it's first just to make sure that our kids are safe at school and they feel welcome. There cannot be a more important goal that we have, is just to make sure we are diligent and constantly focused on making sure that we go about safety and making sure our kids feel welcome and supported at school. Of course, our primary effort is to ensure students are learning and that they meet the benchmarks, but hopefully we can help them exceed those benchmarks. And so a real focus is there. And I think the community appreciates our ability to communicate out things like test scores, different rankings, and yet we know it goes so much further than what we report on paper. But it is really important that when we look at math, reading, science, and some of the other cores, that we hit those benchmarks and we work with families on how their kids are doing and how we can work together to help them achieve. Our focus on mental health continues to be a top priority, and so we've talked about our MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support, and it's just critical. It's a good function of a school district of when we look at academics, when we look at social emotional, when we look at behavior, when we look at attendance. We know that different kids have different needs, and as about 80% of our kids can probably be met with what you would consider traditional school, we know that there are some kids that require more services, if it's academically, if it's social behaviorally. There's other things that we need to put in place so they can be successful here. And so that system allows us to really make sure that we give what each child needs. And then lastly is just really looking at the communication with this bond and this capital projects levy, but then also what engages afterwards. And so right now our focus is just to make sure that we clearly and effectively communicate why we're bringing these questions to the community. And then we'll see the feedback that we get from the community November 7th. And so it's August is an exciting time because you switch the mode from the summer work to the back to school work, and it starts with activities, and then you have new teachers, then you have all staff, and then you have your open house, and then all of a sudden before you know it's first day of school, and it's pretty exciting, and it never gets old. But I open myself for questions. Really your action items aren't many here today. We are just adjusting adult and staff food prices, and so when you look at that, kids, there's not a fee for them to eat, but there is for adults, and so we're setting those prices. Special education changes is just really some of the staffing that we have to do. We are still looking for a couple paraprofessionals, and so we have, you might see we've put out a few yard signs at the entrances of our drives and trying to advertise that. We've put out some email communication trying to get some people to apply. And so we continue to work to try to hire. And then it's subs, and we have our sub workshop coming up in another week, but we're really looking at getting a great pool of subs for our staff.
Kevin, what does it mean if we are short of paras? What are the ramifications of that going into the school year?
Yeah, so in the past years, that's been one position that we have been thin, at times short, and so we try to work with subs if we can fill in that way. It's a little bit more difficult with paras to find subs, and so then we spread the responsibilities amongst existing staff. One thing you see in this agenda is I think we have a better opportunity to hire a teacher than paras, and so it's about 2 paras is close to the equivalent of what a teacher salary would be when you look at the experience that you'd be hiring with in special ed. And so we're thinking that that's a strategy of how we can make sure we meet these kids' needs, is reevaluating para support and teacher support.
Okay, thank you.
Outside of paras, are you thin in any other areas, or?
I would say that the next thing probably that comes in mind is subs for all of our positions. And so custodial subs, always nice to have a few extra bus drivers, but teaching subs is something that we'd like to continue to enhance. One thing that we're doing different with teaching subs this year is we're starting off with what the pay for a sub is, and then if you work 25 days, you get an increase, and if you work 50 days, you get yet another increase. And what we're trying to build in is for those people that are really loyal to taking the jobs here, that there's some incentive for them in doing so. And so it's a little bit more bookkeeping, but I think if you sub more often, you have more experience, you know our systems, we're gonna do a better job for our kids, and they definitely deserve that increase. But hopefully there's, that loyalty is something they appreciate in us recognizing it.
Thank you. Moving on, the chair moves for approval of the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, so the chair moves approval of action item 7A, approval of adult staff food service program fees from 2023-24 at no price increase. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 7B. The chair moves for approval of action item 7B, approval of special education staffing changes for Mount Westonka High School. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All-
Did you get a second to that? Did you get a second to that? Okay, sorry.
Sorry, no.
Just thought of that as we said aye.
Thank you, seconded by
I'll
Lauren
second it.
Davis.
There you go, yeah.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Action item 7B. Chair moves approval of action item 7C, approval of a .99 FTE educational paraprofessional position at Mount Westonka High School. So, yep. Do we have, sorry.
I will second it.
Sorry.
One quick question, the ADSIS program, is that
Yeah.
where we get some funding for that position?
Yeah, we do receive funding, and so these are positions through the state that are usually based on, it could be on reading or math, where you are tying it to specific goals and data, where you're trying to catch students up to their level. It also can be used for, at times, for behavior attendance.
I remember that acronym that I thought.
This funding comes for this position. We had an increase of federal funding, and so for title funds, we've saw an increase this year because our number of students that qualified for free and reduce increased from about 15% to just under 20%. And so with that additional funds, that gave us more support positions, so we're putting it in place.
Okay, we got a second from Brian Carlson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. That leads us to adjournment, and do we have a second to adjourn this meeting?
I think so, I'll second that.
Second that, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you very much, everybody. Good evening.